Hey everybody, this is Blue, and it's time to do another book review. I was kind of debating on which one I was wanting to do for Rolemaster, but luckily for me, I was going through my subscriptions, and RPG Gamer had a poll out about what book he should review next. And at the bottom of the list, he had a 10-foot poll by Iron Crown Enterprises, which is the sister book to 10 Million Ways to Die. And so I thought, well, that would be a great way, kind of do a sister book to it. And, so check out RPG Gamer. He does a lot of good videos, and do that after you watch this video, okay? So, what is 10 Million Ways to Die? Unfortunately, it is kind of a basic version of Arms Law, but it's expanded to cross multi-genres and to cover every single way you need to do combat. It is overall a good book. If you are wanting to build a TTRPG and you're looking for a combat system, this would be a great book to buy. Iron Crown made this in 10-foot pole as generic source books, meaning that it wasn't meant strictly for Rolemaster or Space Master. It was meant to be incorporated into any RPG. And so if you are a developer, designer, and all that, I would highly suggest getting this book. On eBay was the cheapest I saw it at $50. On Amazon, I believe it was $61. So it can be expensive. You can get the PDF, if you like PDFs, a lot cheaper. I think I saw it for $20 on one of the RPG sites. So it does have a lot of potential. I do have some issues with it, but we'll talk about that later. All right. So, decent cover art. I do love the graphics that a lot of the old ICE books had. Rolemaster was always nice with different art, but this one just kind of rubbed me wrong. And I guess we're going to talk about one of the problems I have with this. This was kind of like when Iron Crown was going through a little bit of a phase. They were overextending themselves on everything. They were selling miniatures, card games, and all that. And they did this. And I think the cover art sucks on this one. I like the, upper left-hand corner there, the dragon, the tech, and all that. That was cool, but this guy there, that looked kind of dumb. And the title I don't like, 10 Million Ways to Die. Rolemaster had nice titles that, they, 2 words and you knew what you're getting. Spell Law. That was a book, a nice thick book, about all the spell lists that they had in Rolemaster. It was awesome. Arm Law. This was their basic fantasy combat book. It had all the charts for like your broadsword, maces, clubs, animal attacks, and all. It was awesome. And then there's this. So, I better start going through here. It is a nice setup. They tell you how it works. They give a lot of terminologies in here. So if you are not familiar with melee combat and combat in RPGs, this is a great reference for you. Offensive bonus, that is your ability to attack. Defensive bonus, that is your ability to defend yourself. And they're talking about, additional armors, because, it's not just your chest, that you protect. You got to have your good shields, glaives, helms, and all that. So it gives you a lot of information to work with. There's you go in your definitions. And, it's, like I'm saying, Rolemaster, they've always done a great job of defining things. It's chart mastered, because they always have the charts. And here they're telling you how to read the charts, the attack tables. Now, here's one of my other issues with this. There are a lot of videos out there on YouTube that talk about how combat is boring. And this is going to cause some of that to happen in your combat game if you use this system, because they classify things, in a generalization. This one, light one-handed, bladed weapons. Okay. The issue is, then all of them fit in here. A lot of weapons fit in here, because you can have your cutlass, dagger, dirk, flail, mangosh, rapier, and a short sword. And I don't like that, because some of these are stabbing weapons. Some of these are hack and slash. And they're just saying that the critical for all of these is slash. In the original Arms Law, they were weapons that, they went through a cycle. One critical is puncture, the next one slash. You can also even have some concussion, impact criticals. But here they're saying that all these light one-handed bladed weapons are all slash. And not very many people use a dagger for a slashing attack. That's a puncture. Okay? And so there is that problem where you're going to be grouping the weapons. Now, they do a nice thing about it. They're saying that certain weapons do attack better than others, because on this chart they give a dagger like a -5, but if you got a cutlass, it's a +5. So that would mean that it would rank a little bit more in getting damage. That's a good idea. But still, certain weapons, they do different criticals, and they have more of an impact in combat. And so with this, it just doesn't work for me. Then they got heavy one-sided bladed, and they go through all of these different types of weapons. So, they do cover all the standard fantasy. And so it is a great way to incorporate combat into your game. But they do more, because this is not just strictly fantasy. They have your black powder weapons right there. And they go into modern weapons. As you can see, right there we see the M16, ER-15, and all of that. And they got, the critical charts. I like how they have a lot of specific critical charts. So you can, add some variety into your combat with these, because, it's just the way they detail everything. Because if you do like an E100, like just down here, those are insta kills usually. For something like this, it's probably bullet enters one temple, blows the guy's mind, foe dead. It is good on that aspect. We got shotguns. But we also then go into science fiction. And this is also kind of nice, because right here is a blaster pistol weapon attack table. And in here they got references to other genres. Because the top one is Battlestar Galactica sidearm. Cool. And then they go into the more of the blaster rifle, which is what the Cylons would have had. And they got that listed there. They talk about lasers, so you can get into so many different genres, and you can have a reference point. So if you were mixing various genres, like you're having the classic Star Wars versus the Empire, Star Trek the Empire, in a ground battle and all that, you can have some reference points on which weapon is better and all that. So that part works for me. And like I said, then we get into the animals. You got a bite attack. Now, bites should be puncture criticals, and that's fine. And they even have the nice chart telling you, the advantages, size matters. So, it's more dangerous to get bit by an alligator than it is, what else do they got in there? A rodent. Okay? And they got the max. I don't believe in using the max results charts here. I believe, maybe somebody is just really good at attacking, and sometimes there are too many caps. Claws, that's a good weapon for animals. Fall Crush, and they give you some examples of how these can happen. So I like that. Your grapple and martial arts, which is always good to have. Then they have brawling and martial arts strikes. Fumble. I think this is super important. You got your fumble charts, and they go by your size or type of weapon, and then you roll again, and you can determine how bad that PC screwed up on their attack. And they got a whole bunch of charts in here for your fumbles. It's, like I said, this is a well thought out book. And if you are wanting, information on building your combat system, here is a great reference. I think I've said, the title sucks because I love, old Rolemaster, where they say that, it's arms law. It's a combat. It was originally arms and claw law, but, they went to arms law. And then this 10 million ways to die, it just seemed like Iron Crown was just trying to be, more relaxed and in the groove and all that, and it just fails on me. They came out with another book called The Armory. I like that. That had a lot more different weapons on it, specific charts for that. 10 Million Ways to Die, I thought, was just too long of a title for an RPG source book. There are some interesting charts here. This is one thing I wanted to point out to everybody. They got a stunner critical strike table. Okay? That's cool. A radiation critical strike table. That's cool too. Electricity, cold, and heat, fire. And they show a nice way to convert to other systems. So, like I was saying, this is what it's designed for. They give you the ways to convert from advanced D&D, Call of Cthulhu, Deadlands, Earth Dawn, GURPS, and which should be absolutely easy because GURPS is also a universal gaming system like Rollmaster is. And so, I mean, it's awesome. There is Legends of the Five Rings, Shadowrun, Toon, Werewolf, the Apocalypse. There are a lot of nice conversion tables in here. And just the general knowledge in this book, I think, will help anybody. If you have the Rollmaster books, Armslaw, Clawslaw, Black Ops, The Armory, you don't need this book. This is for somebody who is really just starting off, I think, and needs to keep it basic. I think this would be a good book for you. So anyway, that is my review on 10 Million Ways to Die. It's a good book. It's got some little flaws with it, but I would still suggest it to those that are looking for a good combat system for their RPG. If you have the book, tell me what you think, because some people said, it was kind of blah and watered down. Other people think that's just right. So everybody, please take care. Be at peace.